Yo, it's Mr. Infamous, Sean Shaw. Lao Tzu said the 1,000 mile journey begins with one single step. And boy, we got a journey to talk about today. This is a movie review slash a real ass conversation. We're going to talk about the movie Shame from 2011, directed by Steve McQueen, starring Michael Fassbender, and I can't remember the actress name, but she did such a phenomenal job. Just a really phenomenal job all the way around. Um, what you call it? We're also going to talk about the addiction of porn. Yeah, we're getting into it today. It's like this movie Shame stars this man named like Brandon. Brandon is a sex addict, no ifs ands or buts. He's got it in the worst way. It's like he buys hookers. He watches porn all day. He has an e-girl that he chats with so he can do virtual sex. He like goes like he finds women in clubs to hook up with. This guy has it and he has it bad. And it's like, damn, this guy has a very bad sex addiction. It's like, I don't know what happened to him when he was a kid, but whatever he did, it fucked his ass up. So one day his sister comes into town, and that just changes the dynamic of his life very much so. Well, because his sister's a woman, obviously, and his sister and him have had some trauma. But like, not to get into too many detail, I just have to talk about how this man went down a rabbit hole of like porn, and it was like a disgusting look. And it's like, damn, I've seen that rabbit hole. The rabbit hole of porn is nasty. It's disgusting as fuck. You one day you're watching some woman with pretty eyes and nice breasts. Next thing you know, a goat comes out of nowhere, and it's like, what the fuck is this goat doing here? And you realize you fucked up because that goat is about to be one of the stars. That's a fucked up day if you get that, boy. You remember Clerks 2? Kelly and the stud. I'm the stud. This is Kelly. I'm sorry, I should be laughing, but that shit was nasty. I don't condone none of that shit. That's nasty, but porn is very, very, very filthy. Um, come to talk about like why do we have porn addiction? Of course, the answer is always obvious. It's easy, quick access, yes, but there's something more going on besides quick access. I would go as far as to say social isolation is really what's causing a big number in porn addiction, or at least like I can't speak from a woman's perspective, but for men, men have this like for some odd reason since it was before 2014, 2015. But like I don't know if you remember this like a video that really had an impact. There was this woman just walking down the street in New York and all these guys like, hey, you're beautiful, you're sexy and all this stuff. And that video was basically an anti catcalling video and stuff. Which I got some opinions on that because it's confusing. However, I will say this. I watched that video and I've seen other videos like that, and that video basically said, don't talk to women. That's a pretty terrible message to send because, like, a lot of this, like, I hate to get into it like this, but a lot of feminism has basically labeled men bad for remotely speaking to women. And it's like, dude, we're just regular guys trying to connect with women. Like, they call, like, basically, they say, all men are rapists, all men are bad, all men are terrible. It's like you can't say that about all men. The exceptions are not the rules. And we have too many exceptions walking around like they're the rules. It's like the exception to men are the bad men that you see. You see these bad men walk around, you know who these bad men are. Epstein was one of the bad men. Shh, got away with it for a long time too. Like, who said anything about it until all eyes got on it? It's really really terrible how we allow like how every man is seen like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. It's like we are nothing like those guys. We are nothing like those men. Like if anything, we just have a hard time expressing ourselves with women because well, men have been taught to be too nice to women, and generally speaking, we've always been taught to be the nice guy, to be kind to her, to be sweet to her. That's what a lot of men born in the 90s, generally speaking, like the 80s, 90s, 70s, probably 2000s, they were generally taught to be a polite, kind gentleman towards women. One thing that we didn't like this hit us like a ton of bricks to every guy who was out there being nice. We didn't know that women hate that shit. It's really weird because like we were taught to behave a certain way, and then we get out there in the dating world, and it's like some you're behaving the way we told you to behave, and we hate that, and it's like it's confusing. So that leads to social isolation. It's like, yo, I can't talk to women. I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know how to open up. I don't know how to approach. I don't even know what women like. Don't know anything about women. What does this guy do? Watch his porn. Why would he? Why wouldn't he? He's horny all the time. He's lonely. He feels so terrible. He's got nobody around him. Bro, there's a lot of men go through this, and it just trips me out because, like, I'm surprised how many men go through that same scenario of I want to talk to a woman, I just don't know how to talk to a woman, and because I'm so scared, I don't know how to put myself out there. And with the whole the social media was fucking oh my god, the whole feminist like every March, every Women's Day March and shit like hands off my body, da 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 da. It's like yo. Here's one thing women were like the feminists were still getting laid, but they were fucking the men that they were supposed to be hating, which is crazy to me. It's like all the men. It was like, you are a terrible toxic man because all you do is lie and cheat. I'll still give you some pussy, but still, it's like what the fuck. That's just confusing. It's like we're in the Pareto distribution era now, where 20% of men are fucking 80% of women, and it's really crazy because like what about the other 80% of men? Those other 80% of men are in the struggle. And it's like all feminists did was just like for the past like I could especially say in 2015 it kind of shut the fuck up in recent times, but like 2015 to like 2020, like feminists were just like browbeat men, just browbeat them so heavily. And it's like that. I feel like that's really why a lot of men are weak now. That's why a lot of men are afraid now. That's why a lot of men can't be their authentic selves because we have so much is information, like so much. Sorry to use this term, but we have so much social programming that's rooted in our brain. It's Alan Roger Curry's term. That's rooted in our brain that says behave this way, behave this way, behave this way. And which this is where it really gets toxic because like a man has two things going through his mind: do I behave the way I want to behave, or do I behave the way like society tells me to behave, or I've always been told to behave? That runs through a man's mind when he's trying to really, really be himself. In which a lot of that social programming is damaging. That shit is damaging like a motherfucker to a lot of young men. It just has damaged them. And which that like it's easier to watch porn than it is to go talk to a woman. It's easier. You can just pull up any woman you want, and like you have so many of them. It's all a fantasy. It's all a big fantasy. It's easy to live in fantasy, and fuck the fantasy can get even deeper. Shit, you ever fucking hentai anyone? Motherfuckers be watching that shit, and it's like I got no problem with like doing it every once in a while, but when it's an addiction means like you're doing it like 5, 6 times a day, 7, 8 hours a day. It's like, dude, that's not a good thing to do. That's not, you should be taking that time to improve yourself and go connect with people. Go connect with people. You have to. In which, that's why that's why I'm very grateful that Mo 1 is out. Because it's like, hey, that book teaches you how to approach and talk to women in particular. It's like, you really, all that time you spend in jacking off, what you gonna do when you meet a real woman? I could even say this, like, porn fucked with my last relationship because like I was with this girl. I'm not gonna give you the details, but I was with her, and then I found myself watching porn because I don't know why. I just found myself in that scenario, in which few weeks later she's gone. Not because of the porn, but like I noticed that in my last relationship, I can like porn affect the way like affecting me because it's like I'm supposed to be with this girl, but I keep watching keep watching these videos. It's not a good thing. Porn is not a helpful thing. Porn is like a poison. It's like there's nothing against the porn stars or the people in the industry. It's just that the fact that we have so many men out here that are like lonely and isolated and they turn to porn. That's not a good way to live because they don't have that connection. I think that fans only that made it even worse because then like women started connecting with the men. It's like giving them that false hope of like, hey, it's like having a girlfriend. She's actually talking to me. But here's a big problem with those fans only things. You can't touch those women, and even if you could touch them, they would look at you and say, ew, you filthy pig. Why are you trying to touch me? Like those women have no attraction for you. You should be trying to find someone that's actually down for you. Someone that actually likes you for you. It's a song that goes, she likes me for me. I like that song. Why? Because like men need to really go ahead and like start looking for someone that's there for them. Because like just because she's pretty doesn't mean she's for you. Just because she's got a fat ass doesn't mean she's the one for you. Here's one thing that I will honestly say: this is the biggest deal breaker for every woman. If she has a funky attitude, it's like, yo, no man want to deal with that shit. No man want to deal with that shit. But the best news is you don't have to deal with that shit. You get what you put up with. You as a man don't have to watch porn. You as a man don't have to be addicted to porn. You don't have to let porn ruin your life. You can go out and make some connections. I would think things to help you get over your porn is one, admitting you have a problem. Two, you need to talk to your best friends. You need to have a best friend. You need to have at least 3 or 4 people. Like, you can count on your hand how many best friends you have. You usually don't go past 5. But someone that you can call and talk to say, hey, I'm having this problem. I'm having this issue. I'm having this weakness. You're going to have to really, really use some willpower to say no. To when you find yourself having an urge to beat your dick, you got to say no. You got to turn away from the triggers. Because, like, and when you get away from all this and start watching porn and actually connect with women and actually have sex with women, you'll feel 10 times better, because guess what? Porn is not real. It is a fantasy. It's an illusion. You can't sustain, like, you can't live off of fantasies and illusion. And also, I'd even say this, like some people say, just buy a hooker, just buy a hooker. No. No, 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 no. The hooker is just as bad as porn. Why? Like, here's one thing. In the movie Shame, I really like the scene where he was trying to have sex with that black woman, but he couldn't get a hard dick, which is terrible. It was like, oh my god, that's horrible. That's horrible. But then the next scene, he's having sex with a hooker, and it's like no problem for him to fuck this hooker with no ifs, ands, or buts. But he asked the hooker afterwards, "You want to drink? You want to chill? You want to keep me company?" And she's like, "Motherfucking no." That's between like the black woman that was with him. She would have gave him companionship. A lot of people are, we're social creatures, and I'm really believing that. Like, I'm very much like, I don't know why this isn't like taught in schools. We're social creatures. We're team players. Nobody's a lone wolf. Even a lone wolf has somebody who watches back. Everybody has somebody that they trust. It's like that's us as people. So it's better if we try to start connecting. In which I feel like a lot of things, like in the internet in the world today, like with this whole gender war, like the whole gender war, the whole we sitting up here talking about racism like Martin Luther King didn't exist. That's crazy to me. And all these things continually exist just to divide us. It's like, why do we keep fighting one another? Why do we keep dividing one another? I don't want to be a dude who has to turn to the internet to find some intimacy. That's terrible. The internet can't give you intimacy. The internet can't give you what you want in life. Like, you could probably get some things from it, but it's no replacement for the feel, like the urges you really feel. So stop watching porn. Start being strong. Start believing in yourself and start connecting to people. And what you may say, it's hard to talk to people. It's hard to talk to people. You got to understand this. Striking up a conversation is easy when you have something to say, because you always have something to say. You do. And they're just people too. The worst that a woman can say is no. I'd take 1,000 no's than watch porn. I'd rather take 1,000 no's all day than watch porn. Because, like, fuck that. Porn is just, it can ruin lives. So y'all stay up. Watch the movie Shame. I gotta give it to it. It was very well done. Very hyper real. It was extremely hyper real. It was like, damn. God damn, that movie's fucking too real, boy. Like, so be careful. It's NC-17. And what you may think you're going in, you see titties and ass and all that good shit. Yeah, you get to see tits and ass, but when you look at it, you're just like, damn, this is pathetic and sad. Don't be ashamed, be like, don't be ashamed to overcome your addiction. Don't let that shame hold you back, bro.